Welcome to St. Anthony's Catholic Church in Farnham Royal, Slough, England. Today is the 14th of September, 2025, the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. The Gospel reading today is from John chapter 3 verses 13 to 17. The Son of Man must be lifted up. At that time, Jesus said to Nicodemus, "No one has ascended into heaven except he who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life. For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." Please follow us for weekly Gospel.
Today's responsorial psalm was taken from Psalm 78, and our response was, "Never forget the deeds of the Lord." Meaning also, never forget the goodness of God. Never forget what the Lord has done in your life. This psalm, Psalm 78, was specifically written to warn, to teach, and to encourage the people of Israel to always bear in their minds the many miraculous interventions God did in their lives, how he saved them from Egypt, the land of pain, sin, and suffering, and then how he fed them in the wilderness, how he protected them, fought with them and for them, and gave them victories against their enemies, that they should never forget that their life and history as a nation is shaped by God's faithfulness and wonders, and therefore they should pass these stories on to their future generations. If Psalm 78 was written to teach, to encourage them to remember what God has done in their lives, is it necessary, actually, to remind people of what God has done for them? Do I need someone to tell me how good the Lord is to me? Or do you sometimes forget the goodness of God in your life? Somehow we can say that it's sometimes necessary to remind people of God's goodness in their life, because besides the fact that human memory is limited and is also given to forgetfulness, either because of age, health, or some other factors, human memory is also very tricky and selective. Often, we choose what to remember and what not to remember. We consciously delete certain things from our memories because we don't want to remember them. Even when we should remember them, we decide not to remember them. In our relationship with our friends, also even if among the members of our families, it is often easy for people to forget the 99% of the good things you did in their lives. But they will always remember that 1% you didn't do. They will emphasize it. They will talk about it. They will make references to that 1%. They have chosen to forget the 99% of the many times you came through for them or you were involved in their lives. No. But that 1%, they will use it to assess you. They will use it to judge you, and then pass also their opinions or decision on your person. I don't know if you have experienced that in your relationship with people. That was exactly what was happening in the relationship between the people of Israel and God. Whenever the Israelites encountered unpleasant circumstances, they forgot every other thing, the wonders the Lord had done for them. They will emphasize on that one. That one maybe painful experience, and they will never remember the deeds of the Lord. And that was why in the first reading of today, they complained against God and his servant Moses because they had no water and they had no food. But they forgot that it was the same God they complained against and his servant Moses who gave them manna, that special food in the desert. They didn't want to remember it again. They forgot it was the same God through the same Moses who gave them water from the rock. No, they have chosen to forget about it. Maybe they suffered from temporary dementia, They don't want to remember it. So that was why God sent the serpents to them, to bite them, to reset their memories, to refresh their memories. And when it happened, they went back to Moses to say, please, Moses, go back to him. Tell him we have remembered, that we are sorry. When your phone or your laptop behaves, often the technician will tell you that the solution is to do battery resetting. Once you do battery resetting of that device, it comes back to normal. That's exactly what God did by sending serpents. He reset their memory. And then the author of Psalm 78, writing therefore, told them, never again forget the days of the Lord. Dear friends, painful memories or painful experiences do sometimes make us forget. It could be tragedy. It could be bad health. It could be bereavement. It could be unemployment. It could be anything. But often when tragedy or painful something happens in our life, we tend to forget how many times God came through for us. And we dwell on that one instance when he seemed quiet. So today, within the context of the celebration, the exaltation of the cross, may we never forget, dear friends, the many times God came through for us, how he loves us unconditionally, how he cares for us, how he gave up his son to die on the cross for us. And whatever life throws at us, when the journey becomes overwhelming, may we as Christians never forget what this cross means for us. May we never forget, no matter how life is, what happened at Calvary. May we never forget that at the time when the cross for the Romans was a symbol of suffering and shame, Jesus, because of us, made the cross a symbol of hope, victory, and life. Life may not always be sweet, but let us always remember the response to our psalm today. No matter how difficult it becomes, do not forget the deeds of the Lord. Do not use one experience or tragedy or whatever is happening to evaluate the involvement of God in your life. Do not use it to conclude that God is not fair to you. Do not use it to pass judgment to him, just as you wouldn't like people to use that 1% you failed to come to their help to pass judgment on you. One beautiful thing about remembering the goodness of God is that it helps us to believe in what he can do. And also it helps us to trust his plans, even when we don't understand them. I tell you, in my own personal life, I don't think that I need someone to write to me. I don't need someone to tell me how good the Lord is to me.